CL 650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call.
That's right. We're talking to the man himself in just a moment here. Experts on Call on CL 650. I'm Zach Spencer. And today we're talking with Jack McIvers, our resident appliance repair and installation expert on everything you need to know when it comes to appliances in your home. Now, Jack, you are the master of appliances when it comes to repair. You have over 50 years experience in the business, and you know what it means to sell new. Welcome back to the studio. And we had a little chat beforehand about what it means to sell new. And for you, it's all about selling people something that's going to last them a long time. And you have a unique business model that you really believe that you have to look after customers first. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's an old-fashioned way of doing business.
That's right, yeah.
And you can only do it if you sell quality products. Mm-hmm. So we've had to drop out of some products, front-load laundry, for instance, and computerized operated fridges and so on and so forth. But we have increased our sales on Speed Queen built laundry equipment, and that is very high quality that people can get what I call proper value from, because they're long guarantees and really do a good job of washing the clothes.
Just before we jump into what all the things we want to talk about today, how have you seen the business change in the last 10 or 15 years? And, you know, when you talk to people who maybe haven't bought, you know, a lot of our CL listeners here maybe haven't bought appliances in a long time, you know, what, from your perspective, as someone who's been in this for over half a century, how have things changed in the appliance business? Well,
they don't last as long. And the finish they use on them is a lot of plastic, which is they design it to age quickly and become brittle. And the appliances come nice and shiny, and it's not long before they're ugly.
Is that, sorry, you're saying they have built-in obsolescence? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes.
So that's designed for it not to last or look good?
Yes, because the plan they have is to sell 4 or 5 times more appliances to a family than grandfather had to buy. Mm-hmm. Because some of the appliances from the 60s are still in people's homes.
I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there today who have maybe had a long run with a washer, a dryer, or a stove or a fridge, and they've had to replace it, and they're back into this replacement cycle where their oldest stuff lasted, right?
Yes, it was because the CSA standard that was a government, controlled system said you couldn't build crap, but that was stripped in the free trade agreement.
So we had a lot of Canadian-made appliances too at one time.
Yes, but we're not allowed to build anything and make any money here. The American business plan is strictly for North America. They make all the money.
The U.S.
Yeah, and we're a skim milk. We're not as skim milk as Mexico is, but we're still skim milk now.
So let's get
because we don't have manufacturing, which was a big base, and you keep hearing about Ontario
losing these jobs.
Manufacturing.
Yeah.
Well, it's our own fault because we let the standards get stripped down, so now nothing gets made here.
Well, it's interesting. I spent many years as growing up in Ontario, and I remember in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, there was a sort of like a legendary, you talk to people there about the GE plant that made all these appliances, and it's all gone.
I used to sell them.
Yeah. And they were good machines, I guess.
Absolutely.
So you have kind of, because of this model that you see out there where there's these big appliance companies that dominate the marketplace, and they have downgraded the quality and the materials, and you have sort of downgraded your business to be sort of one location, right? And you're just a specialty store for what? How do you like to describe your business model now compared to the way it was?
Well...
and where is your new location?
My new location is at 38 East 69th. It's right off of Ontario and just down from Marine Drive. And you can come there by going down Main, Ontario, or Manitoba to 69th, and that's right where Canada Tire is also.
Right. So you have sort of right-sized your business because of what you saw. You saw this coming, and you decided to specialize in products you believe in, right?
Yes, and this product I sell, the Hibsch Speed Queen built products, and then we have other products we sell. We had Ariston dishwashers, where we have sold 700 of them, and we probably have another 50 or 60 left. And we probably won't be selling dishwashers anymore unless we can find something equivalent. Mm-hmm. But I'm sort of hanging my hat on these washers and dryers, with people getting so ticked off with the way that things work and how they have all the problems and everything else. And they'd be glad to own quality washer and dryer and have it delivered and installed properly by us. And
so with this model that you've had over all these years about putting the customer first and sort of, I guess, would you sort of hand select what products you sold to make sure that they were quality, and you're doing that today?
Well, that only happened. I used to be like a small trail. I mean, we had a large building, and we had to have that for all the appliances we sold. So with the way the product became, it became basically, to me, not saleable by me, mm-hmm. because it didn't work properly and a lot of problems. So that's why I say I have concentrated on selling a lot more of what I do sell, but less
lines.
Yeah, we have refrigerators and apartment stoves and gas stoves and things like that, and we sell some big 22 cubic foot freezers and all refrigerators and things like that. Anything that I can find that I can look at it and assess it with my experience to be durable, I'll sell.
So is that why you have such long-lasting customers? Like, explain to me some of the customers you have. Like, give me a few examples, because some of them are quite interesting.
Well, we have customers that are pretty old. Some of them. I think the oldest one we have are around 106 now, and she's still around. Mm-hmm. And she talks and acts, like somebody that are about 80 years old.
Right.
And then we have another lady down in the West End that's around 104. And then we have a guy that's 95 who's doing well, reads a lot of newspapers and drives his own car and things like that. They're all basically very aware of everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. They're certainly, you wouldn't believe it to see them. They don't look that age.
You can't pull the wool over their eyes.
Nope.
And so what is it that you have provided for these clients that you've been able to keep them coming back over 40 and 50 years? What would you say is your secret sauce?
Oh, I think people develop a relationship of confidence. Mm-hmm. Because I've never taken advantage of them. I just try to help them.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm a paternal type person. I don't, it's not just the money for me. It's, having satisfied customers and have things work for them. And it's a bit hokey, but that's me.
Well, it's done you well. I mean, you told me you started in 1964, so here we are 52 years later, and you're still running your store. That says something for being in a world where we have all these huge big box stores that are sort of taking up all of the oxygen. You still have a viable business being that personal guy, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling for me to be involved in this situation the way I am. But it's not a great way to get wealthy. But now you kind of have to slash and burn to get wealthy, because the companies that sell appliances now, they have separation. And the separation is when you walk out the door of that store, that's the end of their relationship with you. Mm-hmm. You deal with the contract delivery people, and then if you have a problem, you deal with the manufacturer's sometimes incompetent people.
So if somebody has a problem with one of your machines, they phone you up and say what?
Yeah.
I got a problem with the machine.
People don't have to worry when they buy things from me because we make sure they're installed properly. And, and we're going to be talking a bit about venting a little later and things like that in there is where you're looking after the customer's well-being, where the way that the structure is designed by the people in power now in the appliance business is the manufacturers are in power. The stores are just flunkies.
Yeah,
that deliver.
They're just that, a storefront, right?
Yeah, that's all, and they're given a formula. Don't get too close to the customer.
And so, with the way that you run your business, you have this trust, you have these long-term relationships. So you have sort of a pillars of approach to your business. I guess you said trust is priority number one, right? Mm-hmm. And
competency is the other.
Yep.
I'm more competent than the other people are. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's more fixing done by me.
You're still getting in there, plugging away?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm still doing that, and it's it's good for my health to
keep busy, right?
Keep busy and do lifting and things like that. So I'm, probably maybe a 55 or 60-year-old guy, but I'm older.
Yeah, you're in an older shell, right?
Yeah.
So you have this unique business model. You have a go-to store for integrity. You have a knowledge that spans over half a century. You've seen it all, I'm sure. So you handpick these appliances that you're going to sell to people. And so I guess a big part of what you do is you empower the customers to make a good choice based on education, but not just on it's shiny and look, it makes ice cubes or something like that. You have a knowledge base and you can give them power.
Well, Zach, when I came up with a saying a few years ago that a large appliance store was a room of confusion. Mm-hmm. Because people would get in there and the salespeople confused them on all the different models. Like one company advertises 500 models.
Right.
Now, how can you look at 500 models? So basically, it's they kind of wear them out when they shop there.
Grind them down, and then you end up taking something. Well,
hopefully for them, I guess.
Well, I have a friend of mine who renovated his home. He bought a suite of appliances for his kitchen, and this is 3-4 years ago, and they're all finished. He's got to go and start again, and they were not inexpensive.
Well, if you have rentals and you buy new appliances, just sort of off the shelf, right? Mm-hmm. Go in and say, oh, here's a package deal. They will not stand up to rentals. You have to buy rebuilt appliances for rentals.
And you do that too?
Yeah. You need, whatever trade-ins that come in that are worthy of giving more value, I fix up because I know how long they last. Mm-hmm. I mean, and what to do and what not to do. There's none of that knowledge available in other stores. Mm-hmm. And there's very, very few any stores that have used appliances anyway.
Well, we're speaking with Jack McIver, McIvers Appliances. They have sales and service and pre-owned as well. We've talked about your unique business model. When we come back, we're going to get into some of the specifics of what you do with your business when it comes to spring cleaning. Also, these Speed Queen built washers and dryers that you're really doing very, very well with because they have an amazing warranty. So if you're in the situation where you're needing new appliances, maybe considering new appliances, or you've lived this where you had very trustworthy appliances, replace them with new, and they're not what they were sold, they didn't live up to the bill of sale. We're going to come back and we're going to speak to the man himself, the master of appliance knowledge and repair. When we come back, we're talking with Jack McIver on Experts on Call, right here on CL 650.
This is Experts on Call on CL 650.